Okay, so first of all, okay, so this is Johnny. This is especially for the subscribers of the newsletter Balls Revolution.
Okay.
Before coming here, I announced to everybody that you will be. I can ask you some questions, and there are actually 3 major questions that I got from my subscribers that they wanted me to ask you. Okay. So the first thing is because you are known to be in the porn industry and to have many women in a different configuration. And surprise, surprise, but one of the basic questions the guys had for you is, what is your concept of love? I mean, do you still believe in love?
Oh, profoundly.
Okay.
Love is the central thing of my existence. Absolutely.
All right.
Shall I address this to you, to the camera?
If we were talking...
Sure. First, almost everyone misunderstands what love is.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to first principles, the ancient Greeks divided love into different types.
Okay.
There's erotic love, eros, sexual love. There was agape, which was universal, unconditional love. Love for your fellow man, in the broader sense.
Okay, so something like Jesus said, like love thy neighbor. Okay.
Just don't get caught. And then storge, which is sort of parental unconditional love, brotherly unconditional love, in which the other person's happiness and welfare is essential to your own happiness and welfare.
Okay.
Because, oh please, come
join us, come join us.
This will always make more sense when there are beautiful women.
Yes.
Okay. So, this unconditional love, when I was younger, I always felt made no sense. You could not love everyone unconditionally. And then I began to recognize over time, the only people that would be a challenge were the people who chose not to experience that love. The people who had been closed to it. But almost everyone misunderstands what love is about. Almost everyone imagines that love is feeling that, oh, this woman is wonderful, she's mine, I love her, so she's mine.
So that's the ownership, actually.
The problem is, people misunderstand. When you love something, exactly as you were just saying in our little thing before, love is an additive thing, not a subtractive one. The more you love, the more people you love, the easier it becomes to be loving, the easier it is to share love, and the more comfortable you become with love. I like to explain metaphorically that if you open my chest or anyone's chest, you find a furnace. Okay, there, where they burn the fuel, and that fuel is love. When there's no love, there's a pilot light, a little thing that keeps going so that when they can find love, it will start again, which is hope. Hope fuels your pilot light. Once your furnace is going, each person who is a contributor to your sense of love helps your flames become grander and more powerful. If you think about it in the sense of the candle you were speaking of, almost everyone believes you can only love one person in that romantic sexual sense. So they figure, I've got one candle, and as long as it's lit, I'm happy. But of course what this means is, when a wind goes by, or under any circumstance where they're a little worried, they know that all their light and heat comes from this one candle. Anything that makes them worry that that one candle might go out causes a panic, because they know they're going to be in real trouble.
That is profound.
As soon as you realize, as you said, when you have a lit candle, you take a second candle and you light it from the first candle. Now you have twice the light, twice the warmth, at no cost to the original candle.
Yes.
Each new one you add enhances the warmth, enhances the love, makes you feel more confident, more settled. You realize that there's really no risk of a wind's coming out and blowing everything out. Because you've got a good roaring fire of love, which you can share so easily with everyone around you. And your love, as you say, it's like a shining light. When a lady looks at me, she can sense my affection. She can, because I'm full of love. I love people who will let me love them, who will let me share with them my love. Many people are so convinced that love is that one little flame, and they have to protect it and guard it. They can't let anything near it. Yeah. And so they live in fear. As far as I'm concerned, Rollo May, a great philosopher and love therapist in the 60s and 70s, said the opposite of love is indifference. See, a lot of people think the opposite of love is hate.
Okay.
But hatred is a huge investment. Hatred is just as expensive.
Emotional investment.
Exactly. Just as expensive as love. In fact, hate is just another flavor of love. It's the kind we save for people who suck. Okay?
It's still a maintaining relationship when
Exactly.
you hate somebody.
You continue to keep them as significant and substantial in your world. And no longer is their happiness essential to your own happiness, but their misery becomes essential to your happiness, which is a terrible investment of energy. It's a waste of time, and it tasks you. Whereas the opposite of love in Rollo May's model was indifference, apathy, when you truly don't give a shit.
All right.
But they live or if they
Okay,
die.
got it.
But I've realized that love is multidimensional. In one plane, the opposite of love is indifference. In a different plane, the opposite of love is fear. When you're full of love, you're not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
When you know that the people around you are loving and supportive, you're not worried about losing that love. You're not suffering. Jealousy is a beautiful example of a compound emotion. An emotion that builds on another emotion. It's not a primary.
Primary is fear.
Fear is the primary emotion. Rage, that you have to feel this fear,
Oh my
is
God.
where jealousy comes from. So it's fear of loss. Oh shit! And your ego speaks up. Your ego says, if I gave my beloved the right to choose, she might not choose me. Oh my God, that's awful. Oh my God, I'm frightened now. What if, oh my God, that's awful. Now I'm angry that I have to suffer this way. I have to feel this fear. This is awful.
Did you notice there was
Special effects,
Yeah,
electrical
special
effects,
effect. Lightning.
divine special effects.
Yeah, and because you touched one thing, which is another question from the subscribers, is about being happiness. Because on the material from the Real Man Conference, you tell about being happy, because people can feel miserable for no reason.
Many people do.
Yes, and we can be happy for no reason as well. And the question is usually how? How do you do that?
Okay.
How do you generate the feeling of happiness?
All right, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a demonstration of something, and I'm going to give something to you, and I'm going to give something to you.
All right.
Okay? I'm going to give you what will hopefully be one of the greatest gifts you've ever received. Okay? I'm confident as well for you. I'm going to give you something that you will not only be able to keep with you for the rest of your life, but you will be able to give away again and again and again without ever giving it up. And it will be profoundly valuable. But in your case in particular, I suspect it's going to be much easier for you to accept. And you'll see why in a moment. Okay? Everyone knows someone who by their nature is always miserable. It does not matter how positive their things are in their lives. It doesn't matter how much you care about them. You can say, how could you be so miserable? You've got this going for you, and this going for you, and this positive thing, and this positive thing. It doesn't matter. They can reframe so they can view it as miserable. A great friend of mine said to me once, and he was very right on the money, he said, if you take a healthy, fundamentally happy, well-adjusted person, and you break his spine and put him in a wheelchair for the rest of his life, and you revisit him a year later, you'll find a happy, well-adjusted paraplegic in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
If you take a person who is fundamentally miserable, fundamentally always seeing the dark side of everything, and you give him 100 million euro tax-free in a lottery,
Yeah.
and you come back and revisit him a year later, you're going to find a miserable, unhappy, cranky millionaire living in a multi-million euro home, complaining the only reason people are around him is for his money, and you'll probably be right. So, recognizing this is true, I thought, why do people cling to their misery? Why do they hang on to their misery? Why are they so dedicated to it? The answer is simple. It's comforting.
Because they don't see what they have.
It's not so. It's not so. Because they can see it, but they don't identify it for what it is. But why do they make that choice? Because that's all it is. It's purely a choice. The answer is simple. Misery that is known is comforting. They don't have to worry that it's going to run out. It's not outcome dependent.
It's like, it's a shithole, but it's my shithole.
My shithole. I'm in prison, but at least it's my cell.
Oh my God.
I have the predictability of knowing I'm never going to have to worry as long as I can stay in my cell forever.
So actually, it's the same as people they're not worried about they will fail. They're afraid that they will success.
Yes.
Because they would have to search for another purpose.
Many times, okay? Jamie Smart, a great friend of mine, colleague, a terrific fellow, says some very intelligent things about this. He says, every day, everything you do is practice for tomorrow. And if you spend your time today postponing your happiness till tomorrow, then you get really good at postponing your happiness. So if you say, I'm going to be happy when this happens. If only I could this, I'd get to be happy. And every day that you do that, you're being unhappy and waiting for happiness. Now, of course, the tragic thing is, for most people, when that thing that they've assigned as being the source of what will be their happiness actually comes true, it's fleeting. Now I've got the job, I've got the new car, I've got the beautiful girlfriend, whatever. Where's the happiness I was supposed to have?
Yeah.
So they need to reset. They need to keep pushing things off. Almost everyone believes that happiness is a reward. Almost everyone believes happiness is contingent on something else. When they're children, infants, they only have two states. Uncomfortable and comfortable.
Yeah.
When they're comfortable, they're happy. They're overjoyed. When they're uncomfortable, they cry, they want someone to come change them, feed them. As they grow a little older and they start to communicate, start to recognize mommy and daddy and things like this, when they do things that mommy and daddy are happy with, mommy and daddy smile at them, and they feel all happy. When mommy and daddy frown or look unhappy or unsettled, they don't feel so happy. So pretty quickly they learn the cause and effect relationship. Do something that pleases people you care about, that equals happiness. Go to school, do what your teacher wants, you get good marks, your parents are happy, your teacher's happy, you get to be happy. If you come back with bad marks, your parents are unhappy, you can't be happy. So almost everyone connects their experience of happiness to the results that they get from the outside world. But the truth is, happiness only comes from one place. All happiness comes from one place. It comes from you.
For her? From her?
This girl, just look at her, of course. No, it's not just you, it's also other fabulously beautiful women like you.
Yes.
No, all happiness comes from inside. Happiness is just a choice. It's a choice. You can look at any situation and decide, I can revel in misery. And I can frame this experience to justify my misery.
They can justify everything, actually.
That's how you
Because I learned something, sorry for interrupting, I learned something that people who are happy every day, they express it as if they deserve it.
Absolutely,
They know they deserve it.
Absolutely. Let me give you a for example. I have a fantastic relationship with the most wonderful woman I've ever met.
Not me, but
I have a different relationship.
Unfortunately.
I have a different relationship with this girl. Hopefully it will end up being very similar. But the relationship that I have with Violet, my beloved back home,
Yeah.
with whom we have an incredibly passionate, powerful, open relationship that is pointed at by all sorts of social advocates and community people in the seduction community, and people like Erica Awakening, who some people think is really out to lunch and other people really appreciate. Either way, she adores us, recognizes that our love is a beautiful example, something that should be emulated, and I think so as well.
All right.
And everyone who knows us, Zan would say ours is the most romantic, passionate love you've seen.
Yes,
To me,
he said.
To me, I don't see any romance, because for me, romance is exactly as it's described in the dictionary. Romance is fantasy. Something that is romantic is based on your artificially making it much more grand than it actually is, because you want it to be that way.
But curse love romance.
Well, the curse of romance is that it's founded in self-deception. See, my love for Violet is absolutely genuine, completely authentic. I know her better than I know anyone else. And nevertheless, she has no flaws that I wish she could change. She has many flaws that I find endearing and wonderful. They're part of what makes her her and so wonderful. She also has extraordinary gifts, things that are just beyond compare in my experience, and I treasure her with no aspect of tolerance. No part of me thinks, well, this part sucks, but I'm prepared to put up with it. Tolerance starts with the position, this is something bad, something I don't approve of, but I'm going to be a good sport and let it slide.
Doesn't work that way.
Tolerance is always judgmental, and I'm ultimately non-judgmental. Instead, I'm accepting. I just take things as they are. And it's so peaceful and wonderful. So now coming back to this concept, happiness comes from your decision to be happy. Your recognition that you can frame any experience as a positive of one in which you do not need to suffer. Because there's no reason to suffer. The term enlightenment means an end to suffering. It means to have your burden lifted, to lighten the load. It means to be illuminated, to have the room enlightened so that you can see. Enlightenment is something that person chooses. It's an epiphany moment where they recognize their happiness is entirely up to them, and they can experience it full time. So, I've created a wonderful metaphor, a fantastic thing. I call them happy balls or happiness balls. And I'm going to give one to this lady, and then I'm going to give one to you.
All right.
And you can enjoy my happy balls, which will become yours. So, let me pull this out. Just a moment. All right. Now this is a happy ball. I love a girl that gets excited to see my balls. Now, this happy ball can be any size you need it to be. As much as you need. Or you can squeeze it down and make it as dense as it needs to be. Once you have this, it can never be taken from you. It can never be lost. You'll always have it for the rest of your life. But the beautiful thing about it, I mean, even if you're arrested and they strip search you, they won't be able to find it and take it from you. I don't know where you'll hide it, but anyway, no doubt you'll have it with you for the rest of it. Now, the beautiful thing about these happy balls is that they're kind of like silly putty. You can sort of disconnect so you can make two. And when you do, they re-expand, so you can make them full size again. Still got the original, but I'm making this one for you. Now, when you tear them apart, there's a little unnecessary little thing, this little bit here, which we call a worry wart. Named for that. And you have to peel off the outer husk so that your happy ball for the new person is beautiful and perfect.
Shiny.
Shiny new sphere. Now the beautiful thing about this ball is as long as you have it, you can be happy. All you need ever, at any moment, in order to feel pure, genuine happiness, is just to remember that you have it. Sometimes it helps take it out, roll it around, put it in your hand. And as long as you remember, the reason we tore off that worry word is because no amount of worry will ever lead you to any amount of happy. Worry is something we do when there's nothing we can do. Worry is our mind seeking closure where there's no opportunity for closure. And we keep making our mind more and more busy, coming up with worse and worse cases to envision. We keep upping the ante of disaster to justify why things haven't gone the way we've expected them to. Instead of just waiting. Instead of thinking, okay, well, if this happened, I'll do this. Oh. Instead of worry, simple planning removes the necessity for worry. You say, okay, well, if this happens, I'll do this. If this happens, I'll do this. And you say, and if something else happens, I'll figure it out at the time. No point in ever suffering needlessly. And in fact, there's no need to suffer at all because you have a happy ball. So I want you to put your hands out. I love when women say that too. Okay, put your hands out because this can sometimes be very heavy. Okay? All right, I'm going to drop this in your hands and it's yours forever.
I'm not giving you that. Anyway.
That is totally fine. I'm sure that you'll make it worth my while otherwise. All right, here we go. There we go now.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. You never need to thank me, but that feeling, that happy grin, is pure happiness, real happiness, as genuine as being introduced to your niece for the first time in the as happy as you can be. It's real, it's genuine, it's authentic, and you can share it. And when you share it to someone, when you give them one, you take yours, you make a new one. Then when you do this, you have to peel away the unnecessary bit, but you need to share it to them with the metaphor. They have to understand what it is. To just give someone, here you go, means nothing. It must be made for them. Now, I'm going to make another one for you. Thank you. And it's my pleasure, because every person to whom I give one of these, my happy ball becomes more potent, because it becomes more obvious to me, the reality that happiness is always in my hands, always available. I just have to remember I have a happy ball.
Now I'm more happy.
Can I have one too?
I'm sure you
Okay,
can.
I'm
Would
gonna
you make?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, as I'm
Christina
making
can
it,
share
Yeah.
her balls with you.
now, as I'm making
Great.
a happy ball for you, and getting it so that it's perfect and gleaming, this is what I've made for you. Every person to whom you give a new one, if they ever look to you like they're unhappy, you see them in a bar, someone you've never met before. Give them a happy ball, you give them the explanation, you help them frame. Some people are miserable all the time by choice. Therefore, just as readily, they can be happy all the time by choice. When you explain it to them, and you give them their happy ball, and you explain about eliminating worry, eliminating anything that takes away from your happiness, give them their happy ball. Put your hands up. Right, okay.
My precious.
There you go.
Your precious.
Now that glee, that's real happy. It's pure happy.
Yeah.
It comes from nothing except your knowledge you have this. It's real.
But Johnny, if I eat it, can I still have it?
Oh yes, have your happy ball and eat it too. As a matter of fact, it doesn't change at all as it goes through your digestive tract. Now, so here's the thing. If you ever see someone to whom you've given a happy ball, anyone, that you know, wait a second, that person shouldn't look so miserable. They've got a happy ball. You just look at them from across the room. You go,
You should have my happy ball.
and you go, lift your happy ball and point to it. And suddenly they go, and they realize they're being unhappy for nothing.
For no reason, actually.
They're being unhappy for nothing. There is nothing to gain by being unhappy. There's no reason to be unhappy. So they're being unhappy for nothing. Whereas everything is more difficult. Everything when you're miserable.
Yes, that's right.
Anything you want to try is much easier when you're happy. You want to go and flirt with someone? Go over when you're miserable. The person
No,
you go and
that's
flirt
right.
with will know.
And this is the moment. Sorry for interrupting. This is the moment when most guys get rejected because they are unhappy with who they are and they want to share their unhappiness with a woman.
And they don't even realize the nature of it. It's simple. Guys, especially pickup guys,
Yeah.
who have been taught how they're supposed to approach a woman, don't realize that women have evolved to be able to sense intuitively, but 1,000 times better than any man will, what a man feels about himself. A woman can look at a man across the room, he starts walking over to her, and she can sense immediately whether there's any thought in his mind he's not good enough.
So this sense of self-worth.
Do you agree with that? Guys don't realize. A
They
man's
don't.
sense of successfulness, his sense of self-appreciation, his sense of connection to the world, these things broadcast clearly. And women are looking for leadership from a man. They're looking to follow a man's lead. So if a man walks up feeling crappy about himself, the woman will follow his lead and think he's crappy. Man walks up feeling he's not worthwhile, the girl will follow his lead and realize he's not worthwhile. Man walks up to a girl thinking he's the real deal,
Yeah.
knowing he can deliver the goods. The girl will go, wow, this is a guy who's the real deal. This is a guy worth listening to.
Yeah. Okay, Johnny, we have to wrap up. For the rest of what you said about feeling happy, we'll refer people to your Real Men Conference show. Okay.
Sure.
So,
Or-
so that,
Absolutely. But as I say,
Uh-huh.
this is an empowering document. This video here, you can take your happy ball from this. Wait, ready? Put your hands out. Everyone, put your hands out. Now, even you, come on. Get with the program.
you.
Put your hand out. All right, ready? Here we go. Oh yeah, you too. I'm going to drop this into your hands. You in the audience, put your hands out. I'm going to use the magic of telecommunications to drop this into your hands. I can't even begin to describe to you how this works, so let's just call it magic. Put your hands out. Okay, ready? Here you go. And there you have it. Okay? Now, if you've got a dopey grin on your face, that means you've received it. It means you've got the happy ball, and it's yours forever. It will never be taken away from you. You must remember you have it. And the best way to remind yourself you have it, best way, look for other people who are clearly not happy and share one with them. For every person to whom you give a happy ball, your happy ball becomes more potent, more powerful for you, because you're doing something positive for someone who's receptive to your positivity. As I say, I share my love with anyone who will accept it. As you were saying, my flames are so bright, I'm burning so much warmth and heat because of so much love. It's almost overwhelming when I walk up to a beautiful girl. She smiles at me as I walk up to her. Other guys are going, what the hell does this guy have going for him? This woman is smiling at him.
What did he tell her?
No, that's right.
I will tell the same.
It's interesting. I mean, I was 150 kilo. And stunning, beautiful, wonderful girls.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because you smile with your eyes.
It's because I smile with my whole being.
Yeah.
It's because what I am sharing with you is my existence, my experience of life. And this is the amazing thing. Men would go, it can't be that simple.
It is
Of course it's that simple. And it has to be that simple. I would share this with information with people and they would go, oh, it can't be true. He must have a dick like this. I say, my penis is not a public record. You want to find it? I'll give you some links. It's not like that, I assure you. They'd say, oh, he must be rich. He must have contacts. He must be able to get girls better roles in porn. Are you kidding? Any girl who wants to be in porn, all she has to do is say she wants to be in porn. There'll be 100 guys who want to shoot her in porn.
Yeah. So,
There's nothing I can do for a girl who wants to be in porn. She wants to be in porn, she's going to be in porn.
about sharing that, what you're saying, because that's truly amazing with the broader public. The third question was, if you want to come to Poland for a seminar to share it with the guys from
Absolutely.
that community.
This stuff I'm talking about is the most lightweight, simple aspect, but it's so profound. It's such an underlying theme.
Yeah.
A man, in order to be able to broadcast his sense of appreciation of himself, he must make peace with himself. He must learn to manage his expectations. And there are three forms of expectation management. He has to understand, he has to master all three. First, he has to manage his expectations of himself, so that he never sets for himself unrealistic expectations. If he sets an unrealistic expectation, he'll always feel disappointed in himself, and that denies happiness.
This should be somehow progressive, right?
Must
Because
be.
everybody has to have big goals,
You
but not at
you
once.
can have goals,
Uh-huh.
but not expectations. Your expectations must always be what you expect of yourself, must always be what you've already proven to yourself you can do. If you're standing on your tippy toes, putting in the most effort, you can do this. This must be your expectation. You must not let yourself down. And each day, as you get further and further towards your goals, wandering along the path, the journey of success, you feel you've arrived because you're following your goals. You're following this path.
You said that
Never-
as well in the Real Mental Conference seminar, as far as I remember.
So, here's the next part. Once you've set for yourself a situation where you're never disappointed by yourself except if you let yourself down, then the second expectation management, very critical. You must look at other people and you must manage their expectations of you in their mind. You must not allow people to project onto you their own expectations. You must make it very clear what they can expect. I make it very clear that I am not available to have a primary relationship with another person, but I can have a persistent, ongoing, high-value, high-quality relation that will go on forever, without any concern towards being trivialized. It can never be lost because it doesn't require a belief that it's the only relationship.
Come here. Let's also join Zan to the end of the discussion because
Absolutely.
we have to wrap
We
up.
now can make a
Zan, say
sandwich.
hi.
All right. The third type of expectation.
a
Are these things?
The fourth type?
Everybody needs a bosom for a pillow.
All right, so just to
So
wrap things up.
let me just quickly give the third type of expectation management. Very critical. The third type of expectation management is exactly the same as the second type. Only
Nice to see you again.
you have to make certain it's turned around the other way. You have to manage your expectations of other people so that you do not allow yourself to project what you would expect from you onto them, because they're not you. They're them. Accept them for who they are. Reassess them for what they demonstrate themselves to be to you. Do not be disappointed because they didn't treat things the way you would treat things. When you get these three forms of expectation management down, you'll never feel disappointed, you'll never accept another person's feeling of disappointment in you, and you'll never feel disappointed by others. So happiness then is as simple as remembering you have a happy home.
Yeah, perfect. Johnny, so we'll be waiting for you in Poland.
I'm looking forward to it.
You too. You want to come too?
Of course.
I love a woman who wants to come with me,
Yes.
and I do my
At the same
best
time. At
to
the same
ensure
time.
the opportunity.
All right, Johnny, thank you very much.
Thank you, Travis.
Okay, thank you.
You said you guys, come on.
You guys.